Hello everybody, my name is /, and today we're going to be taking a look at the top r/ entitled parents posts of all time, and these ones are a little lengthy, so buckle up, grab some popcorn, and enjoy the stories. So, I teach 8th grade, and a few months ago, I had a female student come up to me in private and tell me that a male student in her class was sexually harassing her. She shows me text messages that he had sent her detailing highly graphic sexual things he wants to do to her, and tells me some of the things he said to her when they were in the halls. She tells me that she asked him to stop doing it repeatedly, but he's still doing it, and she wants me to help keep him away from her in my class. So before I file a report to have guidance and admin investigate the issue, I spend a class period keeping a close eye on the two of them to see if I could confirm or deny anything she's saying. Once I'm looking out for it, I observe the male student doing things like licking his lips at her from the other side of the room, hovering around her, and finding reasons to walk past her desk. I personally overhear him make a sexual comment about her to another student. Based on what I've seen, I go ahead with referring the boy to admin for sexual harassment and make contact with the parents of both the students to inform them that the issue will be investigated by the school and possible disciplinary actions will be taken. I don't make direct contact with the boy's mother, but I leave her a voicemail and ask that she calls me back. The next day, I'm in planning my period and I get a call from the office saying that there's a parent here for a meeting. Now, our policy is that meeting parents must be scheduled in advance and logged with the office. I don't have any meetings scheduled today, but I have time, so I decide to go and see what's up. It turns out to be the male student's mother in the office. She very nicely asks if we could talk face to face about what's been going on, and for some dumb reason, I agree, even though we usually like to have another teacher or staff member present for meetings. So we go in a conference room, and I go over all the allegations, avoiding names. I tell her that a female student has accused her son of sexual harassment, and I saw enough evidence in class to refer it to the office for investigation. Entitled Mom. Now what exactly did you hear? Because I know my son. He would never harass a girl. He might say something stupid that got taken the wrong way, but that's just not who he is. So what exactly did you hear him say? I want to know what this girl is saying about him. Me. I saw him licking his lips at her and overheard him say to another boy that he wanted to, quote, ride that ass all night. Entitled Mom. What do you mean licking his lips? He gets chapped lips. He might not be doing it to harass some girl. She can't just say anything about him and ruin his life. I know my son, and he's not that kind of person, no matter what some girl says. Me. Well, admin and guidance are going to investigate, and based on what they find, they'll be in touch with you. Entitled Mom. So wait, what did you tell them? You can't just go and say, blank, is harassing girls based on what one person says. He's already been suspended twice, and now you're gonna get him expelled just because some girl wants to get him in trouble for no reason? Now I'm thinking, ugh, why did I do this? Mom is getting so worked up. I have no one else there and my next class starts soon. I repeat that I just reported the things that the girl said and the things I saw, and that it'll be investigated. I reiterate that I'm not the one making any final decisions, and if she has an issue, she needs to talk to the principal. Entitled Mom. Well, principal hates son's name. She's not gonna listen. You need to go and tell them that this is all nonsense. You saw him licking his lips because they were chapped. I'm not going to have all this harassment bullshit. Me. Again, if you have an issue, I'm not the one to talk to. I just reported what I saw. They will look into it. Entitled Mom. But you didn't see anything, and you need to tell them that. I'm telling you, I know my son, and you've got this all wrong. If he gets expelled because you don't know what you saw, it's going to be your fault. I eventually talk her down enough to get her to leave. I report to admin that parent is hostile about the accusations, and go on about my day. They end up investigating and finding hard evidence that he was actually sexually harassing 3 different girls. Boy got expelled. The mom actually tried to cover up for him, because she, quote, knows him so well. Some backstory. I'm in a D&D group with a couple of friends from nearby, and one of the members of the group was a kid who was about 15 years old. He's a really sweet kid, likes helping other people out. He's a big fan of Dungeons and Dragons. He also has cancer in both of his lungs. He's from a religious family that basically forces him to act pure while he's in their sight. The mom is WBC level rapid, while the dad is just a sensible person who just tries to get him to be a good kid. When he's out of sight of his parents, he just does normal teen stuff. Because of his mom, the only books he was allowed to own were Christian books and Bibles. He joined our group mainly as a way to escape his home life and his mom. A couple of weeks ago, the cancer in his lungs started to get to him, so he was taken to a hospital by his parents. He contacted me about this the day after he was taken to the hospital, stating that he wanted a monster manual as his last wish, stating that he was tired of reading the same things. I bought him the book from Barnes & Noble, but considering that he was a dying teen, I got him Volvo's Guide to Monsters in... I don't know that word. Tome of Foes stacked on top of that. The next day, which was his birthday, he was still in the hospital, so I brought him the books as a gift. After he blew out the candles, we had cake and started opening gifts. Mine was the first to be opened. Seeing what they were, he immediately got this humongous grin on his face and hugged me. Meanwhile, his mom stared down at the books with a look of pure disgust, with her husband staring at her with his wary look in his eyes. She picks up one of the books and relights one of the candles and holds the damn book over it to try and set it on fire. I managed to stop her and demand, "What the fuck are you doing? He asked me to get him those books, and I'm not going to let you take them away." His mom simply stared me down and said something along the lines of the books being sinful, satanic, and full of evil that her son had no business with them. I retort and say that her son can read whatever he wants and that she shouldn't force him to be Christian. She starts getting red in the face and starts yelling at me about essentially forcing her children to believe in God from a young age. I state that I'm Baptist, which I actually am, and say that faith in God is a matter between God and the individual. She turns red all over and actively starts to try and destroy the books, with me, my friend, and her husband trying to stop her. At one point I shouted, "Would God want you to do this? To restrict your dying son's freedom of expression?" right in her face. This just set her right the fuck ablaze. She tosses the book aside and starts to strangle her son, and her husband calls security immediately when she does this. Security get here within a minute of the two of us trying to pry EM off her son and drag her away, with her shouting that we're all catamites to the devil. Both her husband and my friend charge her with abuse, assault, and attempted murder. Trial's still going, and I'll try to update this post as the trial goes on. I'm allergic to fish/seafood. It's not the anaphylactic type of allergy, thank goodness, so I'm not going to die if I eat some. But I do throw up, have stomach aches, and a massive headache for a few hours. Enough fish and seafood, and I break out in small red hives over my arms. My mother didn't believe it, and as a child, I couldn't stand up to her properly. She'd force me to eat stuff with seafood or fish in it to prove I wasn't allergic, then ignore me as I was sick. One day, she held a dinner party. I was dressed up beautifully and trotted out to parade before the guests. At the time, I was around 9, precautious for my age, and absolutely fed up with my mother making me sick. When she held out a fish cutlet, fish cooked with vegetables, rolled into a ball, covered with batter and fried, for me to eat, I saw my chance. Me, loudly, "I can't eat that, I'm allergic to fish." Mother, "No you're not, eat it." Me, "I am allergic, I'll throw up." No Asian mother will back down in front of guests for fear of looking like she can't discipline her child. My mother grabbed the fish cutlet, shoved it into my mouth, said in her most firm voice of command, "Eat." So I ate it. Cut to about 10 minutes later, I go up to my mother and tug her sorry to get attention. Me, I don't feel well. Barf. I vomited on her, on the most expensive carpet, and in full view of all the guests. My mother has a reputation for being a kind, generous, charitable, and very religious woman. So in front of all the guests, she couldn't do anything except act sympathetic and sent me off to bed to recover. She never made me eat fish or seafood again. And for the last story, I'm gonna do another short one. Backstory. I was staying at a summer camp for a week, and we were split between boys and girls. I was friends with most of the girls, but there was one girl who was just bratty. Like, should have gotten sent home bratty. So without further ado, EK, entitled kid, F, friend, CC, camp counselor, and me, who do you think? So entitled kid, friend, and I had to go back to our cabin because friend had to change her shirt. I think she spilled something. And entitled kid decided to walk with us. When we get there, entitled kid sees a phone with a yellow tag on it. She immediately snatched it up, and the conversation went like this. Me. Hey, we shouldn't play with that. It's probably insert other friend's name, or a counselor's. Entitled kid. Ha! There isn't a lock on it. While we are conversing, friend is changing her shirt, and suddenly, entitled kid flips it to camera mode and takes a couple of pictures of friend, then one of me. Friend. OMG, delete those. Entitled kid. Why? Me. She doesn't have a shirt on. Entitled kid. Oh my god, you guys are so boring. She proceeds to delete the photos and we leave, but later that day, we see one of our counselors pick it up. I panic and say, Hey, is that your phone? Camp counselor. Ha, no, this is the phone that belongs to the camp so we can put photos on the website. Entitled kid goes completely white. Me. Oh. After our activities for the day, friend and I decide we need to tell CC about the photos. I was worried they were backed up on a cloud or something. Well, turns out I was right. We confess, and it turns out those photos are sent to parents at the end of the week. Entitled kid was allowed off for the morning, but she was awful the rest of the week. Other than that, camp was great. Alright guys, so that was entitled Parents, and they're a little longer posts, so I don't know if I'm going to do this one that often, but let me know if you enjoyed it. Like, comment, share if you enjoyed. And yeah, I've been / and I'm out.
Life is funny cause we don't do shit, we talk about enemy. And I dream about the day that gives me the most out. Waking up is harder when you do it with a frown. And I don't mind, I don't mind. The future kinda seems just like a dirty city street, like